Hi, everybody. This is Miss Harden. Today is very exciting. We're going to be taking our first page of math notes. So, what I do need you to do in your math journals, you should go to page 11. Make sure you are on page 11, and that should be a blank page after all your ST math pages. And the first thing on page 11 that I need you to do is at the upper right hand corner, I need you to write today's date. Okay. Today's date is August 31st, 2020. All right. And right underneath that, I need you to write place value notes because that is what we are going to be learning about today. All right. So far you're just writing August 31st, 2020, place value notes. Now remember, at any time in this video, if you need to pause it to be able to write everything down, please feel free to do so. All right. Now, today's objective, you do not have to write this down. I'm just going to tell you. Today's objective, I can recognize that numbers have different place values. Now, in your brain, you should start thinking, oh, wait, I remember those words, place value. Okay. Now, what I do need us to do first, we have some vocabulary we need to write down. So please write the word vocabulary. You're just writing underneath where it says place value notes. So right here, you already wrote place value notes, right? And you already had the date, August 31st, 2020. Okay. And now you're writing vocabulary. So we only have one word right now. It's position. So position, you can even write number one beside it. Position. So write down that word. Now position. The word position, when you are talking about place value, means where a number is on a place value chart. Okay? So make sure you write that down. Pause this if you need some time to write. All right? Position, where a number is on a place value chart. Now we do need to write example. So your example, let's say we had this number right here, 845. Now, using what you remember from your previous years of school, the 5, what position is that in? Remember, we call that the ones position. The 4, if you remember correctly, is called the tens position. And the 8, who remembers? Yep, that is the hundreds. Oop, spelled that wrong. Hundreds position. Okay? So I need you to write down your example as well. 8 is in the hundreds place, 4 is in the tens position, and 5 is in the ones position. And this is still page 11, okay? This is still page 11. All right, good job. Now I need you to flip. Go ahead, flip to page 12. And here's what we're going to do on page 12. Now, page 12, look at how I have this oriented. So really, your page number is probably down here in the corner on one side or the other. So page 12, I have this turned to the side, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make our own place value chart, but I'm going to give you a huge number. So let's write this huge number down, and I need you to write it big, okay? So I'm going to write 8, comma, 3, 4, 2, comma, making my commas big, 1, 7, 4. Now I want you to put right here, this is not a comma, this is a decimal, okay? And then I want you to write 9, 5, 3. Does anybody think they know how to say that number? That's a very big number. 8,342,174 and 953 thousandths. We're going to practice how to say those words here in this next week, or say this number. But what we are going to do today, now if you have a highlighter or a different color pen or pencil or something to that effect, I would definitely get that out, because what we're going to do right now is we are going to kind of draw some boxes around these. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Let's make a big box around the whole thing. Making a big box around the whole thing. I want to separate each number into its own individual box. Okay, so here's the 3. There's its own box. 5, its own box. Now the 9 has its own box. Now I want the decimal also to have its own box. Okay, I'm putting lines going down in between each number and each comma. So just kind of do it just like this. Everything has its own position. Okay? Such a good job. You guys are doing great. Now, my suggestion, make sure you pause here. Make sure you have this written down correctly. Make sure you have boxes in between each of the numbers. So now what we're going to do is kind of what I have here up top. I'm going to tell you what each position is called. Okay? Well, let's start where the decimal is. This is the decimal. And I'm going to write this going sideways, decimal. And when we use the decimal, when we say the word, we don't say decimal, we use the word and. And Miss Lemon or somebody else, they're going to talk about that later. Okay? Well, we know beside the decimal, we call this the ones position. And we know that is worth 1. Okay? So I'm writing the word going down here, and then above it, I'm going to put how much the spot is worth. So that's 1 spot. Now, beside the ones, we call this the tens place. So I call that the tens place. Okay? Kind of going with this format up here. You can kind of see this up here too. Okay? Now, the 1, well, that's 1, 2, 3 spots over. 1, 2, 3. That is the hundreds position. And that's going to look a little like this, 100. Okay, now comma, I don't have to say comma because we know what that is. Now, on to the left of the comma, we call that the thousands place, or the thousands position. Put the number up here so you know the worth of that. And this is going to help you later when we do expanded form. Now the 4, what number is that if you can see it? That's called the 10 thousands place. 10 thousands place. Okay, and that looks a little something like this, 10,000. Well, what's this space called? This is where the 3 is. That is 100,000. 100,000. Do you see why I wanted you to use your whole... Oh, oops. Sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. Something happened. Oopsies. Sorry, guys. That was weird. It's the 1,000 spot. Okay. And that number looks like this. That goes right here. Okay. And this, the 8. What's that one right here? Anybody know? Yep, we call that the millions. That's the million spot. This is 8 million. So million is 1 with 6 zeros. Now I do know that this is a lot, but we have some numbers after the decimal, and this might be new to you, okay? The number right after the decimal, this is what we call, look at how I'm saying this, look at how it's written, tenths. I used to tell my kids, tenthesa, but we call that the tenths. Now, if you had a decimal, you would write it like this, 1/10, okay? You could also write it as a fraction, as you can see up here. 1/10 is the same as this 1/10, okay? Now, the next number to the right, well, looks like it says 100, but look what I'm adding to the end. Hundredths. TH at the end. The THS makes it after the decimal. And this is, it's like everything before the decimal is a whole number. Everything after it is smaller than a whole number. Okay? So hundredths, that would look like this. That's 100th. That's a hundredths spot. Well, tenths, hundredths. What do you think is next? Well, over here was 10, 100,000. This one is the thousand. What do you think is at the end? THS. Thousandths. So that looks like thousandths. And now notice something. This is 1, 2, 3 spots after the decimal. 1, 2, 3. It goes over 3 spots after the decimal. That's thousandths. And this is what it would look like as a fraction. Okay? Folks, you just made your very own place value chart. Such a good job. Now, if you have room back, because right now I took up this whole page on page 12, right? Well, go back to page 11, because I think you're going to have some more room. Okay? Go back to page 11. So, back to page 11. Okay, go back. We're going to write just one example down. Are you ready? Let's write one example. We're going to just put example. Okay, you ready? Let's write this number down. 124.56. Okay? What I want you to do, I want you to write down this number, 124.56. We'll talk about how to say it later. Remember, you're back on page 11 because you have more room on page 11. Okay? So I want to know, and you can use your place value chart on the other page. I want to know what position is the 4 in. Well, if you said this is the 1's position, you are right. What position is the 2 in? Yep. That position is the hundreds. Oh, I was just kidding. I was just seeing if you were paying attention. Nope. That is the tens position. And if you look on your chart, where is that 1 located? Now, there's your hundreds. Now it doesn't have TH at the end. And if it has TH at the end, it's always after the decimal. It's smaller than a whole number. So what position is the 5 in? 1 spot after the decimal. So go to your chart and say, okay, what's 1 spot after the decimal? We call that the 10th spot. 10th spot. Okay? 10th position. Now, what's 2 spots after the decimal? What is this 6 in? Well, this 6 is in, I'm going to put it down here. Sorry, guys. This 6 is in the hundredths position. Okay? Now, folks, that's just one example. So what you're going to do, you're going to need this place value chart for the rest of the week. And if you have any questions, please ask your teacher in small group. And I thank you so much. Good job, everybody. Remember, if you need to pause or rewind to write everything down, please make sure you do that. If I've written it down, so do you. Great job, everybody. See you soon.